Hello and welcome to take number 4000. The room is super echoey. It's basically just an empty room with a desk and my PC. Kind of decided to go in the office anyways, because how the light hit my PC screen, it was just not good for editing. But that's not the point. I'm gonna show you my most important tips on how to shoot a panorama. I'm gonna do a super quick round now for everybody who just want to get going and shooting. And for everybody who want to stick around, I go on a little trip, have some tiny tips on in between and just talk my usual crap. But for the quick round now, so for those guys that they can just the first thing you want to do is you want to level your tripod. Then you want to level your camera, especially if you shoot with wider lenses. Because of the distortion, it might have a problem then stitch it together on the ends. So you want to make sure it's level. Then you want to shoot at the approximately 50% overlap also for the stitching together. Then you choose all your images in Lightroom and you actually gonna click on stitch it into panorama in Photoshop, because Photoshop does a way better job. You just wait for everything to happen and there you go. You have a finished panorama and you can start editing it. And for all the other guys, let's go. Almost up there. It's a short hike, maybe half an hour, but it's very steep, and me drinking constantly beer and eating pizza and burgers, I don't think it helps either. I'm sweating, which is not good if you're my age and you have to walk for half an hour even though it's uphill. Well, it's the second trip today, so anyways, I bought this place. Look at the sunstar. It looks very weird. It reminds me a bit of Jurassic Park. It has some like this nature and stones. It's not normal for Norway, at least. There's a lot of history to it, and my neighbor told me once. And I gotta say, I'm horrible at stuff like this, because he goes in here and goes out there. I enjoyed him telling me though, and sharing a beer, or not sharing, yeah, you know what I mean. He drinking his and I'm drinking mine. But I'm so bad at remembering, especially history stuff. I just know it looks cool and weird, and not typical, so I like it. That's enough information for me. Either way, let's go over there and I'm gonna show you guys. So this is Helgevatnet. But that's not the thing I wanted to show you guys. Actually the thing is over there. But Helgevatnet, it's gonna be in our picture. So now you have a little impression of this. It's nice. But actually on top there, where is these weird stones, there's like a, not really a lake, I would more say like a pond. We're gonna try to get both in the picture when doing the panorama. These kind of rocks, fuck off tripod, are just not really typical for Norwegian landscape. My wife meant it's more like
reminds you a bit more of Portugal, stuff like this. So it's really cool to have it so close and try to capture them a little bit. Another thing is also I want to try to shoot more local scenes, like maybe max 1 hour driving, just as a little kind of self project to get, like, I mean, so many beautiful things around here where we live. Of course it's nice driving like to Trollstigen, like last week. Check out the video if I haven't seen it, and shoot like those amazing scenes. But local, not well photographed, sometimes you need a little bit of challenge, because like Trollstigen was like, it was very obvious where to shoot and how to shoot. So today, I saw already earlier today, it's gonna be a bit more struggle to come up with something that actually pleases the eye. But I don't know, today I'm up for the challenge. Let's go to the spot where we were before and see if it still looks good, in my opinion. Let's go. Now we have the pond on that side and the lake on that side, and a little walk passage in the middle. Kinda reminds me of Besseggen, mini Besseggen. And my plan is to take the panorama from there all over there, and we have the sun here. This is gonna go down a little bit further to the right. So I hope it gives, we get some color. There are a little bit clouds in the air, not many, but I hope we get some interesting light from that side, because when I tried it on the phone, I think it was a bit too much unbalanced, and I think some color in that from that direction would look great. It's 2 hours until actual sunset, so we're really early, so we're gonna just put out the phone again and play a bit more around how far we're gonna take the panorama. If we're gonna, maybe I can try to actually have a 360. I'm not so sure if it's gonna work here, but I'm gonna try and see if it works. And then we're just gonna wait for the sun to go down. Sounds like a plan. Especially if you shoot panoramas, since you take like several pictures, you can't see like the full picture on the back of your camera. So there definitely the phone is needed. Just test it out there, try it out and see if it works. I mean, it's anyway always good to see there first, but especially panoramas, that really helps. But I think I found a spot where the trees are not too dominant in the foreground. It's still way too high, the sun, but I have lots of time. I still have off tomorrow, so for those wondering where the wife is, she's at home. Even though I love her about everything, now we had vacation in almost 3 weeks together and spent almost every day together, so it's actually nice to get out once alone and just, I don't know, enjoy the nature just by yourself. So the first thing you want to do, you really want to make sure your tripod is why is my brain shutting so much off today? Level. It's gonna make your life way easier once you shoot the pano, because you're gonna turn the camera just like this. So if your camera's unstable, you're gonna lose some of the pictures, because when it's stitching together on the end, it's just not gonna work out properly. So stable, or you could also get a cool tripod head, proper tripod. It's has done me okay for the last 2 years, but I think we have to upgrade, maybe with a different tripod head or a whole different thing. gonna be probably a whole different thing, and my wife is gonna get this one just to start out with. So the next thing you want to make sure is that the camera is level in like this direction and not much tilting down or upwards. Especially if you shoot like, because I'm shooting with a pretty wide lens, it's gonna have a pretty hard time stitching it together when it's tilted down or upwards. Because especially the wide lenses, they have like a pretty, it's this distortion is just gonna be a problem. My first shot, I was so excited to, yes, I'm gonna shoot the panorama, was Krokenes Fyr, and the clouds were like, looked fucking amazing, if I can say it like this. But then the horizon line, it was bendy and looked like shit. It was horrible. It had such a hard time to stitch it together, and I was sitting there for hours trying to fix it, but it never got perfect. So thanks Enrico for the tip. I didn't know this before, so make sure the camera is level so you're gonna have a way easier time. So the next thing you wanna do is I'm gonna switch over and record with my shooting camera. Let me turn it on. I like to have like at least 50% overlay, so you would like take a shot here and then you would move it, take a shot here, and then basically just go further on depending on how far you want to have the panorama, where you want to start and where you want to end. You should probably shoot in manual mode. I don't know. Actually, usually I just shoot in aperture mode. I have the same ISO, I have the same f-stop, and it always worked out great. We'll see if I run into problems one day, then I might rethink it. So yeah, no, now we're basically set up. You guys know what to do as well, and now we're just gonna wait for the light, hopefully, take some pictures, and if there is something, I'm gonna show you later on what I'm gonna do in Lightroom and Photoshop to merge them together. So now we're just gonna hang around here for a bit, enjoy the nice sun, and look at the hopefully beautiful sunset soon. Just make sure you actually clean away your shit, especially with the wide angle lenses. And we have a shadow, which is my own, so we have to also be careful about this one to not get it in the shot. Actually, I think I'm gonna try rather try one in full manual and just try one in aperture mode afterwards, just to be on the safe side and have both options in case one doesn't work. But when I go in the manual, I'm very aware of the highlights, that they're not like blown out. So I'm probably gonna go to the most bright spot and turn in my settings there, and then go with that one for all of the pictures. Still a bit high, but we're getting close, my friends. Gonna enjoy some water and some peanuts meanwhile, and getting eaten by all these ponds and lakes. Fantastic. But besides that, it's really nice. And it looks like I think I have to brag at my shots. If the sun doesn't really loosen some strength. Because at the moment, like the shadows are dark. Maybe I have to switch camera soon. Something more high dynamic, with high dynamic range, which my wife gonna love, because my list is very long on stuff I want and need. I kinda need them, but you know what I mean. And definitely always, if you're finished, when you're finished, take a shot of your hand. So you actually know where one panorama stops and one starts. You do the same when you break it. So you always know where is the next shot. Sunset. The colors on the left side there is nice colors, but where the sun is going down, it was just like, I mean, look at this. Paron. It just, I don't know what it is. It's not great. But here on the left side, nice colors, or yeah, I don't know how good you see it from there, but cool clouds, some nice colors, and they also get reflected down here in the pond. It's just exactly where the sun sets. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's not over until it's over, so there might be something cool on blue hour. I stay here and keep on shooting, and I don't know. Can you hear how my mood get better and better? Damn. Being outside just taking pictures helps. See you guys in my place. Just showing you how I stitched it together and showing what I got. So see you there, guys.
Alright, hello and welcome to my office. Now we're gonna go to the, how to say it, stitching together. And I'm gonna show you some issues I had, and yeah, some things I think should be done in a certain way. Alright, there we go. Like I said, I bracketed all the images because it was very high dynamic range and I shoot on Micro Four Thirds, so I usually bracket just because of safety reasons, so I don't get very blown out highlights or very dark shadows. What I tried to do is actually merge each exposure in one panorama first. So I had 3 different panoramas and wanted to merge this together as a HDR, but I show you here right now why this doesn't work. Here's like the first one, and I have the second one and third one. Come on, PC. They just, even though I never changed something on the tripod or how I had the camera, when Photoshop merged them to a panorama, it just didn't look the same, so it wasn't possible to have it to merge them together in the end. So what I would do is, I have here 13 images, and I already merged them together to have the HDR, and then I would take those 13 images which are HDR and merge them together as a panorama on the end. So it's always better to have the HDR first and then the panorama on the end, that it works properly. One other issue I had is, what I usually do is I merge the panorama in Photoshop, because Lightroom just doesn't do that great of a job. I had many times problems with this. I can show you here, guys, on this one, because there I did it. On the first glance, yeah, it looks nice, but then when you zoom in here, I mean, this whole area, what happened there? I can't tell you. So HDR merge in Lightroom, all good. Panorama I take in Photoshop. But let's go how I did the Photoshop. So I have here 13 images, the HDR images I was talking about. Oh, that was too much. So I choose all of them. Then I will right click, edit in, merge to panorama in Photoshop. This is gonna take some time because Usually my PC is on its limit. Usually, 1 second. There we go. There we are. So this was gonna open here in Photoshop. Layout, I usually leave it on auto because it does a pretty good job. Blend images together, of course, you need it. Vignette removal and the distortion correction. You could do it in Lightroom already, so you wouldn't need to do it here, but that's just more work. Here it's literally 2 clicks and I press it and it's okay. And now you're just gonna let it work, let Photoshop do its magic. Like I said, I only had one time problem stitching panorama together, and this was the shot from Coconut Sphere. Maybe I can throw it in on the screen while this Photoshop is doing what it's doing. The horizon line, since I had the camera tilted down, and with the distortion it was a super wide lens, it's the horizon line. It looks great, and I really like the whole, I don't know, it was such a magical sunset, and I worked so hard on trying to fix it, but it never happened. So even every time I look at this picture, I just see failure. But it is what it is. Like I said, thanks to Enrico for giving me that advice. He gave me that advice at best again. Otherwise, I probably would have done the same shit there, and still wondered why it doesn't work out. Yeah, so there you have it. Now you can take there you have your panorama. So now you could just, if you save again, if you save the image, then this panorama comes back to Lightroom and you can start editing. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a like and maybe a subscribe if you want to. I'd appreciate that. And I don't know what's the plan for the next time, but I'm gonna see you definitely in 2 weeks again. And I'm looking forward to that. So sayonara, cheers guys, and here comes actually my finished edit of this scenery.